When people hear the word distractions, they might usually think of social media, Instagram, YouTube, Netflix, and even video games. But what if I told you that the most dangerous distractions in your life is probably none of these? In fact, it might be sitting next to your work. It might even look productive. Imagine this: you sit down to study polity. You open the chapter, you start reading. 10 minutes later, a thought appears. Maybe I should revise economy first. Sounds reasonable. So you switch. A few minutes later, another thought appears. Actually, currently, current affairs are more important right now. So you switch again. Then you remember a YouTube video about a better study strategy. Then a new book someone recommended. Then a different source for practice questions. 3 hours pass. You were working the entire time, yet somehow, almost nothing important got done. This is the most dangerous kind of distractions because it does not feel like distractions. It feels like progress. And that's exactly why so many intelligent and hardworking people get trapped by it. Most people know when they are wasting time. If you are scrolling Instagram for an hour, it's obvious. But productive procrastination is different. It disguises itself as work. Imagine you are preparing for an examinations, you need to solve difficult questions. Instead, you spend 2 hours making beautiful notes. The notes looks impressive. The highlighters looks perfect. Everything feels productive, but the difficult questions remain untouched. Or imagine you are a creator. You need to publish a video. Instead, you spend days researching, changing thumbnails, looking for the perfect title, and watching videos about content creation again and again. The uncomfortable work gets delayed. The comfortable work gets completed. This is productive procrastination. Doing things that feels useful while avoiding the things that actually matter. The reason we do this is simple. Real progress is uncomfortable. Real progress forces us to face uncertainty. The brain would rather do something easy and feel productive than do something difficult and more progress. And because the distractions looks like work, we rarely notice what's happening. Now let's talk about another trap, the search for the perfect method. This trap destroys countless students. A student starts studying from one book. A few days later, he hears about a better book. So he switches. Then someone recommended another teacher. So he switches again. Then he discovers a new strategy. Another switches. A different schedule, another switch. A new productivity technique, another switch. Months passes. The students feel busy, but this progress remains slow. Why? Because every new method creates excitement, and excitement feels like improvement. But changing methods is not the same thing as improving. In fact, many people spend more time optimizing the progress than actually doing the progress. The truth is uncomfortable. Most people don't need a better strategy, they need more consistency. Because success rarely comes from finding the perfect system, it comes from staying with a good system long enough for it to work. Have you ever noticed how exciting a new book feels? A new notebook, a new subject, a new project, and a new business idea. Everything feels fresh, motivating, and full of potential. But after a few days, that excitement disappears, and suddenly the work becomes boring. This is where most people quit because the brain loves novelty. The problem is that repetition feels ordinary. And ordinary work does not give the brain the same excitement at starting something new. That's why some people start 10 projects but finish none. They become addicted to beginnings, not because they are lazy, but because beginnings provide an emotional reward. The difficult part is staying long enough to become good, and that requires discipline, not excitement. Imagine sitting in a rocking chair. You are moving constantly, forward, backward. The movement is real, but you are not going anywhere. This perfectly describes how many people spend their lives busy, occupied, always doing something, yet somehow remaining in the same place. Because movement and progress are not the same thing. Watching videos about fitness is not fitness. Reading about business is not business. Planning is not the execution. And research is not the result. And changing subjects every hour is not studying. Many people mistakes motion for progress because motion feels good. It creates the illusion that something important is happening. But the progress has a simple test. Ask yourself, if I continue doing this for the next 6 months, will it produce meaningful results? If the answer is no, then it may simply be motion, not progress. The world is full of the people who are incredibly busy, but very few are constantly effective. And the difference is not effort, it's the direction. So the conclusion of this video is the biggest distractions are not always social media. Sometimes they are much smarter than that. Sometimes they arrive disguised as productivity, a new strategy, a new book, a new productivity system, and a new idea. All of them feel useful. All of them feel productive. But many of them pull your attention away from the one thing that actually matters. And that's what makes them dangerous. So the next time you feel busy, stop and ask yourself one question. Am I doing important work, or am I doing work that helps me avoid important work? Because your future was not be determined by how busy you are. It will be determining by how often you focus. The most dangerous distractions in life is not what takes your attention away from work. It's what takes your attention away from the most important work.